Hey, how's it going, everybody? So, sort of not really a beta breakdown because this stuff is coming live very shortly, but I want to talk about what's coming in the game. I know a lot of people rely on this source of information to understand what's happening, and even though these changes are final, it gives you an idea what to expect. So, there's stuff regarding Ninja Tower, the Halloween event, new war rules. That's something you're going to want to stick around for sure. And we'll get into that in a bit. I haven't looked at much of this yet, but I did take a little bit of a peek, so let's scroll through this together. So the Ninja Tower event is added. It doesn't say when it's going to be released yet, but it's going to be part of the next update, so it'll be on your phone just waiting to be activated. So you want to climb as high as you can in the tower. Every 3 tower floors, you get to add one of 3 blessings that count to all of your heroes, so like an attack buff or a crit boost or mana generation or something like that. The curses, they've changed a little bit, where it used to be that if you got, I think it was 5 and then 3 and then now it ended up being 2, there's new tiles on the board that are called Oni stones, and when one appears, one of your heroes has a curse on them. If you don't get rid of that tile within 3 turns, that hero gets a curse. If they get 2 curses, they cannot be used at all in any of the remaining 50 floors. So that's a pretty big deal. So I think you're going to see people using a lot of like scrolls of alteration to try to avoid that, but those are pretty costly items. So they did make it so that you have 3 turns to get rid of it. It used to be only 2 turns, which seemed pretty intense. So yeah, you can see Oni Stone will explode, 3 turns after it has appeared. That hero is then cursed. I don't understand what this small tower energy flask is. If that means that you can obtain these as a way to get more attempts. Because the way they had presented it before, it was that you basically could only attempt, I forget if I think the event was 5 days and you only got 10 energy per day, so you only really get 1 attempt per floor. So I think this means that there will be a random drop percentage for an item that could allow you to play that more, but I can't really tell what that is. That's the first phrasing I've ever seen of small tower energy flask. The big deal is these new war rules. So I want to go in order of what's here, so we're going to click into those afterwards. So make sure you stick around for that, because that is going to be one of the most significant changes to wars since they created wars. So there's going to be 3 different modes, and rules, kind of like a mode, that are going to be added. So it sounds like the regular field aid, arrow attack stuff will stay, but now we're also going to have undead hoard, war equalizer, and rush attack. Obviously rush attack needs no explanation, so soon wars will have a rush attack component. So if you had fun fighting Alfreich in the tournament, this past tournament, get ready to face her in war again. I think there's a lot of randomness to that. You either get the tiles you need, you get those 2 matches right away and you can do something, or you get a bad board and you probably are guaranteed to lose. So that's going to be interesting. So we'll look at those in depth after we get through these things here. Feel free to skip ahead if you're not interested in the rest of this stuff. The Return to Morlovia event is updated, and that should be coming live pretty soon, actually. I think it's maybe the last week of October. They added the easy difficulty, which I feel like for most people that have been playing more than like a few months is pretty much pointless, and I don't even bother completing it. Balance changes to normal and advanced difficulties. I think they've done that with all the seasonal events so far this year. New rewards, which really just means different rewards. New enemies, and then the new heroes. We have the 2, I think it was just 2 5-stars, Vanda and Francine. 1 4-star and 1 3-star. They've since buffed the 3-star again. I did a video talking about how they had nerfed him, I think, and they made him significantly worse. And now they've given a slight buff to Vanda, who they also made worse, and to Jack. Quality of life improvement, go directly to select hero view when tapping your hero in the raids view. And I think that just means normally when you're in your raid matchup screen, if you tap one of your heroes, it just brings a pop out of your team again where the troops are, and I think this just means you'll be able to get through easier, but we'll have to see when that happens. Dodge. So it just sounds like some bug fixes. I've never seen this Inari bug. Monobar would appear darker. That's an interesting one. Fixed a visual issue where if Zoc fired at a hero with Onatel's status ailment leeching 100% mana, the mana is gained only after the turn has ended. Now Onatel will gain it immediately. That's a pretty fringe case. Edited Baldur's skill tooltip when active in battle. Active as long as the caster has boosted health. Fixed game crashing. The game crashed if Baldur hit a ghost. So some weird glitches around the Baldur Stonecleave mechanic with taunt heroes. Most of these are pretty minor. I'm just going to skim through. You feel free to pause if you want to read any of these, but I want to make sure there's not anything significant. Interesting, the daily ounce of gems offer cooldown is 24 hours instead of until midnight. This is a nice one, actually. They were very unclear about the wording with cleanse and dispel, where cleanse was supposed to mean getting rid of ailments from your own heroes, and dispel was supposed to mean getting rid of buffs from enemy heroes. But at times they said dispels ailments from allies, and so they've just fixed this wording to be more consistent. So cleanse is always removing ailments, dispel is removing buffs. That's nice. New heroes or costumes will be labeled new in the summon when they're available for the first time. Just trying to make people more excited, I guess. Fixed an issue where Baldur, in some cases, could not find a target for their random attack and the game would crash. That's pretty funny. A lot of problems with that Baldur hit every turn mechanic. Okay, so a lot of just weird stuff. So let's look at these war rules. Let's get back up to the top here. So they're going to bring in the undead. So you can see these are the existing ones. I didn't realize that there was an order to the rotation, which is 2 times attack boost, 2 times arrow barrage, 2 times field aid. And I had never even noticed that they were always twice in a row. I just assumed it was random. So that was just interesting to see. So they did not add this elemental charge. And you can see the latest notes. There's no guarantee that one or any of these will eventually be added. And then there was that update that said which ones were. So if you're curious of things they were considering, feel free to pause the video here to see what some of that stuff was. Okay, so Undead Hoard is being added. So we'll look at this one down at the bottom here. All heroes receive a skeleton minion. Skeleton minions inherit 10% HP and 10% attack from their owner. So it says, not sure if is all heroes or just defending heroes. I think it was clarified that it is all heroes. But I mean, if it's defending heroes, it's basically just like field aid again, except if you have Scotty, that's going to be a lot more fun because 10% HP is not that much. So it's going to be guaranteed 5 minion kill. So it should be easy to get max stacks within a few turns. Unlike most minions, the skeleton minion inherits stats from their owner, not from the caster. Okay, so here's the update. Takes 5 turns to trigger when all enemies are present. Rule is now n turns to trigger, not n+1. So if you have 5 heroes, 5 turns to trigger. 5 turns to trigger. 3 heroes is 3 turns to trigger. 1 is 1. So that's kind of interesting. It ramps up as you're closer to defeating them. But again, if you have this is actually going to be good for people that maxed Grimble. It's going to be good. I think Bira should block this. Captain of Diamonds even. I might give him capes now. I kept him at 360, but I might give him capes if this is going to be common, just as a way to clear them all out. What other minion killers do we have? Grimble, Gobbler, Captain of Diamonds. I know there are others. Bira blocks, Kvasir blocks, but he's pretty risky to bring, depending on the people that you're raiding. Okay, so that's one of them. The next is War Equalizer. Remove all status effects and stacks from all heroes. So that seems to be offensive and defensive. Confirm this affects all heroes, both attack and defending. So I'm curious to see how many turns. 3 turns to trigger, it looks like, if I skip ahead. Specifically uses the word remove, which indicates that undispellable effects will also be removed. It is specific about all status effects, not just ailments, but all buffs too. And that makes sense why they changed it to equalizer and not cleanse, because again, with the new wording, cleanse implies a removing ailments or getting rid of ailments. I guess you have to be careful with the word remove now as well. But this gets rid of all buffs too. So this will change the defense teams. I think that's what they're going for. I think this is not going to be the final say on any of these rules. I think this is going to give them some helpful data on what is fun, what is not fun, and they can maybe add some more or tweak these to be more interesting. But this is potentially more interesting. So that dot meta is not going to be as good with this War Equalizer. And I think now this is just in this moment pointing out a trend about why they're bumping up the number of emblems. And I think it's because they want you to be able to have a broader selection. Because now people just max emblems on 5 heroes for a defense and just leave it untouched all the time. But if the rules are constantly changing, having more emblems is going to make it a little bit easier to have a bigger pool of heroes that you can draw upon. So you're not having to put just heroes that are maxed without any emblems. Okay, so now it takes 3 turns to trigger. What? That doesn't make any sense. Now it takes 3 turns to trigger where... Oh, not n+1. So it's just 3 turns regardless. Every 3 turns, all ailments are removed and buffs from both sides. So that's something that you can count on offense. You know that this is going to happen. The defensive team doesn't know it's going to happen. You can plan accordingly to try to charge up a hero that will give a team-wide buff only to have it removed. So I imagine there's going to be a counter on the screen keeping track of this. So that could be interesting. I'm most excited about that one. And a lot of the better heroes that give defense down only do it for 3 turns anyway. So if you can time that right, shouldn't impact you too much. Okay, the last one is fast mana. Sure. So, same thing as raid tournaments. All heroes are set to very fast. One thing to keep in mind here is that if you have an average speed hero with costume bonus, they only need a level 1 mana troop to charge in 6 tiles. The typical rule was that any hero with a level 11 mana troop would charge in 6 tiles, but the costume bonuses changed that because it was a new way of adding a mana bonus. So average speed heroes only need a level 1 troop to charge in 6 tiles. So that can help with the way you allocate your troops depending on how many mana troops you have. So that's what's happening. Let's check real quick to see if this will explain to us whether... I assume Scotty's stacks are going to be removed because Gazelle's card has the word remove on it, but Gazelle cannot touch the stacks placed by Scotty because stacks are their own thing. But I don't know. Yeah, this is just a dictionary. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with stacks. We'll have to wait and see. If anyone knows that, add it in the comments below if you were in beta or something like that. But this is what is coming to the game. Yeah, that's some exciting stuff. There's a lot of change. I'm always apprehensive about their implemented changes in this game because I feel like they make a lot of kind of boneheaded mistakes the first time through. Seems like the testing is not as elaborate as it should be, considering we're on like what, nerf 5 of Tellurian now, 6, 7 maybe, because there was a nerf even before release. I mean, you can't hold a pre-release nerf against them, but they seem to like use the game itself for beta testing, and people's frustration is the currency that makes things change, and it's not a unified voice in terms of which way the game moves. So I'm a little apprehensive. The new events will be fun. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'm nervous about them disrupting the war routine, but I'm excited about the potential of it changing what teams are used on defense because it's a little stale right now. The nerf to Tellurian Vela did shake things up a little bit, but I still think we've seen only green tanks since that buff, and plenty of Telluria still, and I've been scouring the Alliance leaderboard to see if any top teams, obviously their raid defense teams are different than their war defense teams, but what I've been looking for is to try to see if any of them have if they have plus 20 emblems on any non-green paladins, because that would be a pretty strong indication that they have removed their emblems from Telluria, which would be a strong indication that they are changing. So I don't think we're going to see a shift in the meta, but it kind of happens like an iceberg, where if you've seen icebergs in the ocean, they sit in their current position for a long time, but they're melting more underwater than they are at the surface. So suddenly the weight changes and the whole thing just flips, and that seems to be the way the meta moves in this game too, where it stays very still for a long time and appears largely motionless, and then suddenly something new is figured out and everyone just flocks to this new thing, and then it sits there again, and it's this periodic oscillation that just has a lot of stagnancy and then a huge amount of movement and then stagnancy again. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are on these changes. Yeah, it'll be interesting. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.